Hey everyone. Super excited to be going live again. There's some more stuff I really want to share with you that feels really potent and powerful. And just to warn you, I'm totally on fire today. I don't know if you saw my post, but I am literally in this like revved up, change the world energy, which feels amazing. And yeah, I'm just super excited to share all of it with you. So let me get this shared over to my personal page so we can get it to as many people as possible. All right, let's see. Give me just a second. Should say something about it. So what's today's live on? So really what I wanted to talk to you about is why I'm on a mission to positively impact 1,000 humans in 2020. And really what we're going to talk about is is the paradigm shifting and why we can't continue down the route we're going down. And we're going to talk a little more about purpose and passion and all of the good stuff. So thank you for joining me. If you are on live, please comment. Let me know you're here. And if you're watching the replay, please hashtag replay so I know you saw it. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on what we're about to talk about. And as always, I hope you're having a beautiful, what day is it? Wednesday or Thursday, depending on where you're at in the world. Yeah, sometimes I forget what day it is. It happens a lot. So what spawned this? So I was on a training yesterday, and the gal that was running the training started talking about how she believes, she likes to work with women because she believes that women in business, particularly online business, are the real like powerhouses and the ones that are actually going to make a difference in the world and really change the way the world runs, and that by helping women be successful in online businesses, she's actually supporting them in receiving the money and also making the impact and really shifting into this like different paradigm. And it got me thinking, and when she was talking about women, she was really talking about feminine energy, right? She wasn't talking just about women, gender-based born women, or like, our anatomy or whatever. She was really talking about like this feminine energy way of doing business. And it got me thinking, because one of the things that I really dove into and that I've taught in one of my groups is really around like divine masculine and divine feminine energies and the unhealthy masculine and unhealthy feminine energy stories that we have. And so it got me thinking when she was talking about that, really what she was talking about was, this like healthy feminine energy and the fact, even though she wasn't saying this, and the fact that much of our paradigm, much of our reality in the business world, in the political world, in the way that our world is structured is actually based on unhealthy masculine ideals, right? And I don't want to go super deep into that. If you have questions about it, I'm happy to chat about it. But it just got me thinking, like, one of my big intentions I set for 2020 was really positively impacting 1,000 humans this year in whatever way that looked like, whether it was from my content online, whether it was from working with me, whether it was from volunteering somewhere, whatever it was. I'm really on this mission to have some sort of a positive impact on 1,000 people this year, because I know that when we do that, like it's like a ripple effect, right? Like the positive impact you have goes and spreads, and then other people, because they're positively impacted by you, go have a positive impact on someone else. So, but the reason that's really important to me is because I know that the world is changing, and I know that it has to change. We cannot continue running the same paradigm, the same structures that we've been running. Because, if you look around us, right, it's not working. It's not working, right? There's a big dichotomy in the wealth in the world. We've got, tons of problems environmentally. We've got, people still starving in parts of the world, which is crazy, right? Like with the amount of wealth and the amount of knowledge that we have, like none of this stuff should be going on. And besides that, we're getting like as a race, as a species, we're getting more and more disconnected from that feeling of truly feeling like we are, we have something to live for, truly feeling like there's a reason for us to be here, right? Truly feeling fulfilled and happy. And I know that I'm making some generalities, right? Like this is not true for everyone, but as a society, we got to a point when you look at, and I wrote an article about this for Thrive Global, when you look at like the increase in mental health problems, when you look at, dissatisfaction in ourselves and in our lives, when you start to look at some of the medical problems that are coming up, right, and these medical epidemics that are caused from stress-related diseases and disorders, all of this stuff is indicative of the fact that we have somehow gone down a path that is not supporting us as like souls in a human body, right? And so when I look at that, and when I'm, as I'm going on this journey and working with people and all of this stuff, right, it's become obvious that the shift has to happen. And so I am fully intent on doing my part and helping as many people as I can through that shift, right? Right. I believe, and what I've seen is that the more we can tap into our purpose, the more we feel fulfilled, the more we feel like we are doing something good in the world, the more we understand that we actually came here for a reason and that we follow that path, not only the better do we feel, but the better our lives get, right? The better, the external reality gets, but also your internal reality gets. And when we are, I don't want to generalize and say everyone, but when we are the type of people, like if you're someone who often tries new things, goes down a career path or down a job path, feels, excited about it and good at it and all of that stuff, but then shortly thereafter, you start to feel like the itch to move on, or you need more of a challenge, or you start to get bored. I believe, and I know that is because you're not actually living into your purpose, right? You're not actually doing what you came here to do. You're not doing what lights you up, right? And we get in that boat because we've been taught to look externally for the opportunities that are available for us, for the career path or the job path that, provides us the most external benefits, right? The best pay, the best health insurance, right? All of this stuff externally. And so when we look at finding a job or building a career or even building a business based on those external factors, we are leaving a gaping hole, because ultimately we need the intrinsic value, right? We need our intrinsic values met through our career, through our work in the world, to be able to be truly happy. And the reason that is because we are holistic beings, right? The work that we do in the world is not separate from us. It's a part of us. And so if all we're chasing, and believe me, I am speaking from so many years of experience, if we are chasing, based on what we're taught, right? If we are chasing those external benefits of the career that we're in, it doesn't matter how many of those we gather around us. If we are not meeting our intrinsic needs, we will never be truly happy. We will never feel truly fulfilled. There will still be something missing within us, right? And if you look at our system and our structure, we have been taught to believe that that is how we're supposed to go about things, right? And like I was talking about, you can see it in our society now. You can see the breakdown of it because so many people are, are feeling that and are understanding and are getting to a point in their lives where they're like, I did everything I was supposed to. I have everything externally that should make me happy, and I'm still really, really feeling unfulfilled. The rise in depression, even suicide, like it's kind of sad when we look at our society. And I do believe the tide is changing, right? Like if you're looking outside and you're seeing, there's a lot more mindfulness stuff coming up. There's a lot of stuff in our society that's starting to come to light. So I do believe that the tide is shifting, but it's our job to really fully do what we can to support that in our own lives, and then externally, with the people around us and having an impact on people as well, right? So if you're someone that that resonates with what I was talking about, right? Like you get bored easily, you're really good at whatever you do, and when you first start something, you're excited about it, right? And it's a challenge and you're learning new stuff, but then you get bored easily and you just don't feel fulfilled. It's because you're not doing what truly lights your soul on fire, right? You're not doing what truly lights you up. And I'm willing to bet that whatever that is really will make a bigger difference in the world, right? And that you are the type of person who it's important to you to have an impact, right? It's important to you to be a good person. It's important to you to help those around you. It's important to you to have done your part to make a difference in the world. So if that's you, then I would suggest you start to look intrinsically, right? And one of my favorite questions to ask is, if money and time you didn't have to think about those at all, what would you choose to do? Like, what would you choose to do with your time, right? Because when we take those factors out and we start to look at what we would actually choose to do with or without it, that's how we know what it is that really our soul is calling us to do, what we're really passionate about, what would really fill us up. And of course, money and time, of course there's a reason that we're concerned about those, right? We live in this 3D reality. We have bills to pay, all of that stuff. But what I will tell you is, when you start going down this purpose path and you start really paying attention to, like, what direction would I go without those factors, everything else starts to fall in place. Because when we live in our purpose, when we are holistic beings that really fully embrace all of us, then things start to unfold. We find we find the career path, or we find the business idea, or we tap into like whatever it is. And then we can look at, where do we turn that into a business opportunity? What kind of career does that look like? Maybe there's a company that I'd really like to work for that I'd be able to fulfill this stuff, right? But you have to look at the impact and you have to look at the purpose first, right? Impact comes first, and then you can monetize from there. And when we shift this, it can feel scary, because a lot of us have a lot of beliefs around like, oh, well, I can't make any money doing what I love, and I have to struggle to be able to take care of my family. And if the word purpose often triggers people, right? Like, well, if I'm going to go live into my purpose, then I must have to give up all my worldly possessions and like join a monk or a monastery and all of this stuff, right? Like, we have all of these crazy beliefs because we've been taught differently. And I would just encourage you to really start asking yourself, like, what would I do if I wasn't factoring in money and time? And really start going down that path. And it doesn't mean that you have to like give up your career like I did and like fully jump in. Maybe that is what it looks like for you, but maybe not. But just being honest with ourselves and really asking ourselves, right? Like, does this feel good? Does this fill me up? Am I making the difference in the world that I want to make? If my life ended today, would I regret what I had done with it? That's a really good question, right? Because that often tells us if we're on the right path. And I can tell you, when you start to tap into your purpose, that feeling of fulfillment, that feeling of feeling like really whole, and knowing that you are always like fully guided and supported, right? Like, your path, if you will allow yourself to explore it, and if you will allow yourself to really get open and honest and authentic with yourself, and also give yourself the space to like play with it. Because the other thing is you don't have to get it right on the first try, right? This is something you get to come at from curiosity and interest and play and fun, and really allow yourself to explore it. Because the more of us that do this is how we actually change the world. This is how we actually make the difference that so many of us are trying to make, and heal so much of the disconnection in humanity is from really fully stepping into our purpose and being that light for others and being whole and complete and happy, right? Like, if you are 100% whole and complete and happy and in love with who you are and fully embodied and loving your life, even just by being that type of person who feels that way, you are shifting the paradigm of humanity, right? Because you're out in the world, you're conversing with people, even if you're not doing what I'm doing, right? Like, even if you're not like actively trying to shift people and help them step into this, even if you're just happy in yourself and whole and complete in yourself, when you go out into the world and interact with people, you have an effect on them. You have an impact on them. And the more of us that can do this, this is how we shift that, right? This is how we raise the vibration of the planet. This is how we help humanity heal. This is how we change the paradigm. And again, it starts with impact, right? It starts with impact. Impact comes first, and that can be impact on you, your family, your direct, environment, or it can be impact, on a bigger level if you're really feeling called to have an impact on humanity or a certain group of humanity or the planet or whatever it is. But really looking at that, because the things that you're passionate about that light you up will be the things that have an impact on one of those things. And when you come from it from that perspective, then you can monetize it, right? Then you can turn it into a business, and you can turn it into a career, whatever that is. And this is the approach because, as I said, right, we are not separate from our work. That idea that work is something we do and isn't something we are, and that we work to provide that rest of the life that we desire, is probably the biggest falsity that we've been taught, because we are purpose-driven beings, right? Regardless of what word you use, purpose is one I use because it resonates with me. Regardless of what word you use, we are beings who are here to do something, who can have an impact, who are driven intrinsically, like I was talking about, right? And so until we step into really owning this holistically and connecting with what feels good to us, and then looking at how we do that for our work, we very often will end up in a career or an experience where we don't quite feel whole and complete and happy and content. So that's why I'm on a mission to help 1,000 people this year, because it really lights me up knowing that this is the path to really everything you desire, right? So often we think, and I was the same, right? I was searching for, well, if I had more money, then I would have the freedom. And if I had more freedom, then I could do whatever I wanted and I wouldn't feel trapped. But it didn't matter how much more money I had or how much more freedom I had in my career, because I got to the point where I had, I was making a significant amount of money through my other business. I had a lot of flexibility. I could manage my time however I wanted, with some exceptions. It didn't matter. It didn't matter how much money I made, and it didn't matter how much freedom I created. There was still something missing. And I know now that that's because I was still externally trying to create a reality, as opposed to doing what really felt aligned and soulful to me. So if you resonate with this, I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to leave you with the encouragement to just play with it and have some fun, right? It doesn't have to be super serious. And if you're watching this today, what is today? The 5th, February 5th. I have currently openings for these Fierce and Free sessions for free. There is an application process, because they are for specific people, in a specific situation, so with specific challenges they're looking to solve. So if you're curious, if any of this resonated with you and you're really in a place where you're ready to explore your purpose more and how you monetize that and how you really live into that and have this holistic approach to yourself and your career, message me or comment on this, and we will get you the application questions and we can talk about if you're a good fit for that. These are pretty potent sessions. So I did one yesterday. It actually ended up being 2 hours. Normally they're an hour. But yeah, people are getting really great results with these and really good direction. And it's my intention that you leave the session with some clarity and some direction, right? It's not just a conversation. It's a real deep coaching session and healing session, and helping you get clarity around all the stuff and start down this path. So again, if you're into that, just message me or comment on the video, and comment on the video if you're on Facebook or Instagram. If you see this on YouTube, send me a message. I don't know if I'll get the comment right away on YouTube. So I love you all. I want you to know that you are beautiful, amazing humans, souls in human bodies, and it really is possible for you to live your dream life, to feel as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. So I hope that you are exploring that. Love you all. Have a beautiful day.